All right. Let's clean that up. Okay, let's share the screen. All right, I have a couple things to go over. First is the way that the Hufflepuff egg worked and how we ended up getting the energy to create Gryffindor, because it like didn't exist, you know. It existed in our hearts and our minds for the future, like from a Hode brain. So we like had it in here, and then we had like our planet was overrun with this and this. Okay. And then from our like our soul, like we had it in our souls, but not like in the soles of our feet, like our body and stuff. Okay, so here we have Hufflepuff. Like Hufflepuff is definitely like we're grounded. We're whole people in Hufflepuff. We're whole, we're rooted, and we definitely get to the bottom of the, like not to the bottom of the clippet, but we definitely like clean out the clippet, and we're of service, and we're like good whole, and then we feed from the griffins. We download the higher rays from Kater, like are then emanated through Dot and then come through. So like Kater starts to come through, boom, and then it goes boop, 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 like rays of sunlight. And then we like maybe we start to root in there. But that's the, okay, so like that's the max for a Hufflepuff. But they have all these other like lower selves here. Okay, so like their lower selves still might be demons. We're gonna do these like these purple goblins. Okay, so this is the thing about Hufflepuffers, is that they didn't root in here, like they didn't root to the bottom of the clippet. So they still have all these lower selves they have to deal with. And this is why part of the Hufflepuff program is gonna include creating lower selves into gnomes. Know me this, know me that, know me this. And then like here we can make blue hatted ones, know me this. So this one's a smarter gnome, and know me doing this. So then they start, like the gnomes start becoming like little balls of light instead of psychopathic demons. Like, period. So then they have like a little, they have like little dots of heart chakras. Like we're a being of Tiferet, yay! So now that's a Hufflepuff. That's a real Hufflepuff right there. It's solid, it's intelligent, it like gets stuff done. And then the gnomes help out the griffins. So like if I'm sitting down here in the clippet, like the Hufflepuff gnomes come and help me while I'm like battling psychopathic Slytherin like knife rapers. So like this is like some asshole Slytherin might be attacking me and trying to like stab me in the vagina with magic while I'm sitting down. But the gnomes are benevolent creatures, and they are like little fairies and help. Okay. So there's a very clear archetype of Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. So like the Hufflepuff creates the dwarves, and then like when you finally get to that's the green for Slytherin. So when you finally get to your Griffin self, You're like, yay, I have all these dwarves I can deal with instead of psychos from other people. Now, the big thing is that how we did this with Kelly, when because we created our friend, like our gnomes. So our lower selves were gnomes and like we're friends. So as I'm sitting in the bottom of the clippeth, like I would reach out to Kelly and like grid her into Ravenclaw. And then I would go more Ravenclaw. And then the next day, more Ravenclaw. And then oh, we need to like collect that version of yourself. More Ravenclaw, more Ravenclaw, because our gnomes became friends. So instead of her attacking me and stabbing me every minute, she just became more Ravenclaw instead. And that was our intention. So now we're like so I would grid myself, more Gryffindor, but like, because Kelly's not physically sitting here, but I'm not battling a Slytherin. I'm just dealing with her gnome. And her gnome emanates back into her Ravenclaw body because it's part of her. So that's how a Hufflepuff can become a Hoshmaline. And then they have to do the work. So then they start to purify, and then they purify with the cobra acid. Purify, purify, purify. Another cobra, like another Yoda Balls book. Purify. And then they're A&R marked Hoshmaline. And that's the real Hoshmaline, not like the Nomi Hufflepuffer. So we're not, so Kelly is, but nobody else is. So Stacy and Elaine are kind of approved, but we haven't even done the Ravenclaw initiation or the eggs or the temple or anything. But the women in this class that started from scratch, when Babaji was like, this class is mandatory. Okay, so here we have, and then the Hufflepuff prefect is up here. So the gnome could just be like, I just like being a Hufflepuff, and that's fine. But if you want to be a Hufflepuff, you need to get to the I'm an above the wheel Hufflepuff. So I'm going to be an A&R marked Hufflepuff that runs prefect energy. And that's Cedric Diggory level, okay? So then it's like, I'm a Hufflepuff, I'm a Hufflepuff, I'm a Hufflepuff. Because they're above the wheel and they've done all the purification. Now this is going to be Hathor. Nobody understands, but Hathor wants to be a Hufflepuff. But she's gonna be, she's Archangel Zophiel. So like you need to understand, this is where Hathor sits, because she sits right here energetically in life. But she loves Hufflepuff, and she's gonna be the queen. Sitting, she's not gonna be Archangel Raphael, she's gonna be an Auror sitting in Hufflepuff, much like I'm an Auror sitting in front of Gryffindor. And much like how Kelly is an Auror sitting in front of Ravenclaw. Okay, so we understand what's going on. To get across the abyss, you need to have done all of your purification down here to ever be actually across the abyss. Now, Misty Copeland is in the process of doing that with me. Her lower selves don't attack me. They're my friend. At the worst, it's like a giant gnome, but we're getting her into the part where her spiritual body is able to do that. Now, Isla is the same. Isla's bones are, her bones are starting to cook Ravenclaw right now. And Isla was down here with me when when we opened up the portal to do everything up at the front. So she like exists up here because she can get all the way down here, and that's why she holds the Adam Cadman for the child template. And then her sister comes and follows, like her, oh God, what a mess, you know, like, so Isla shows up down here in the spiritual world, and then her sister follows behind, because her sister's not as like dragony as she is. Okay. And then Gracie comes, and then Gracie comes after McKenna, and then there's a windfall of all the other children. So that's the energetic structure. So then we have, then with after the group of that children, then we have Misty, and then the first five girls that connect with Misty Copeland. And they are also being gridded. And then we have the Tibetan monk children, and then we have them getting gridded at the bottom, like at the bottom of hell. Okay. So it's in this, like, we're ascending the children first, and like Kelly's kids are like, we're coming, we're coming slowly, but we're getting there. And that's the way it is. And then we have this whole other windfall of all the other children getting gridded, and it's gonna be a shit show. Because we have to enter, we gotta get them into Netzach to get the bone mutations growing, and to get them attuned out of like the robot Hode matrix into the natural divinity space. I don't like saying the divinity space in Netzach, but the nature space in Netzach, where it's like, my body can mutate and then change into a witch instead of a muggle. Okay. So somebody's asking me, do I consider muggles Slytherins? Yes. And this is why. They operate out of the solar plexus chakra and the digestive system. That's where their thoughts are 90%, like, or 80% of their thoughts are in the bacteria in their gut, in their, all right. An Auror does not operate out of the digestive system. Okay. A Gryffindor operates out of the liver. A Ravenclaw operates out of the heart. A Hufflepuff operates out of the lungs and the stomach. Okay. And an Auror operates out of higher realms. And the actual brain. The higher you go up the tree, the higher you actually operate out of, through your physical body, through the bottom of the clippet. Period. Okay. Are we going to prove all this by science? Hopefully the Tara is going to want to do weird epigenetics testing on the difference between the cellular mutation of Slytherin versus Hufflepuff versus Gryffindor versus Hodgkin, because they're all very different and very unique. So that's the goal. Her, somebody else, but it will be a fantastical scientific study down the road. All right. Last thing, for all you assholes who just do not get it. So many people are emanating thoughts or frequencies at me like they're confessing me. And they have no A&R marks, no papers done for A&R, like they have no actual good GEBURAH. They have barely passed Hode. A confessor, just to be on the Pearl queue, must pass the Archangel Ariel Nexa. The Nexa. So it's the Stargate that you will pass this access point. Very few Hode people get on the Pearl queue, except for people like my mother, who's like also a Slytherin witch. Okay, these are honorary positions on the Pearl queue. It's mostly because it's a protection mechanism that if I go insane while I'm under attack, I don't confess my mother because she's a psycho. And I find a way to fix her instead. Okay, there are reasons why we do that in life. Like my sisters don't get confessed. Instead, I do everything in my power to ascend them up the tree instead. Now, when you put somebody on the Pearl queue, you have to have passed the High-Out exam to even be able to put people on the Pearl queue. You must have the Auror and the High-Out to be a confessor. And a confessor looks like this. I am literally able to take out people at will as they try to climb the tree because of my severe divinity and my capable to climb. And I am responsible for every single thing in my awareness. I am responsible for every single thought. I am responsible for every single child. I am responsible for every single animal. I am responsible for every single fauna and flora. Okay, so these are the agreements that Kelly made, that Isla made, and that I made with ourselves times a million. And it's through the bottom of the clippeth. Now, this is why Elijah can't get confessed and why he has access to be the only male confessor on the planet. He has this weird magic and access point. All right, so let me show you this. Even if that grid isn't filled out, he has this little teeny access point where he can run 3 layers Ensof in the clippet. Because he's Osiris. And Osiris was the male confessor on the planet in Egypt. That could, where is Egypt? So here we are, where he was the god of judgment against others through their life. And he was the god of the underworld. So it's the same exact grid. That's how you can tell he is Osiris and not, it's a fraud. Because his energy you can find down here, and he's the only person that can run 3 layers Ensof in the clippet like that. Even if he's a giant schizo demon cut up into 50 million pieces, his soul has this weirdo access point where it can start emanating like God. And then he also has these fucker mole demons because he's a giant disaster. So then there's this mole demon that goes, I like to knife rape. And then Lucifer like wants to kill him. But then he has these like angel selves that are like so he's a giant disaster. Just so we all get that clear. And this is why his rehabilitation process is at the level of a 10th house Hyote. It is not at the level of a Hufflepuffer healer. It's not the level at a beginner newbie Hode magician. Okay. It's like, I'm a therapist and I have 100 hours of Reiki training. Okay. It's at Gandalf. It's at me, the woman who goes, I cleaned out the clippeth. Like, so I like, and then with Kelly and Isla, like we'll work as a team, and with you guys, like if you're gonna join the rehab Harry Potter, like it is the official position of the Seraphim to rehab Harry Potter into the Seraphim. We hate him though because he's a jerk. He's a movie star. Man, and you want to do horror movies instead of Save a Whale. Okay. All right. Then we have Jamie Bell. And Jamie Bell, Jamie was this. I'm going to go into the clippeth. And now he's here. I'm going to do my 50 mental bodies. I don't want to get confessed because I'm a movie star. Just so we understand where Jamie Bell is at. And then there's Taron Egerton. And then Taron Egerton is like this. Okay, so like, I'm a Hode magician. I'm an angel. He's like, he runs kind of the Archangel Michael. Oh, I got to get into Hufflepuff and be an Archangel. So this is Taron Egerton's grid. All right, he's doing pretty well. And like, I'm not going to attack you. Like that's what he does. Okay. Jamie has a lot more connections with me in like past lifetimes. So like he'll track me and he'll like find me in the astral planes. And then Misty's grid looks more like this. So she'll go, boom, 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 I'm a magician. And then she runs a lot of the GEBURAH. She's like, I don't know if I want to be in House of Kamael with you or House of Metatron. Like, so then she has these different, like, they might be different selves or whatever. But then she coats herself in the purple ballerina. So this is why she was one of the first people that were like, that I haven't met in this physical world to get on the Pearl Q, and why she can cross the abyss really fast. That's what Misty's grid looks like. And then it's all like Hode, 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 ballerina, ballerina, ballerina. I learned how to master GEBURAH with all my ballerina. Ballerina, ballerina, ballerina. So it's like, just so you understand, like I have no freedom. My entire life is slavery. And it's slavery to discipline and like micro training discipline, like an Olympic athlete. Because she's an Olympic athlete. And that's how her brain works. And that's why she can cross the abyss really fast. Okay. So then it's weird. Okay, so then Alden. So Alden's like Elijah. Like he's a disaster. He's like this, but he doesn't have the confessor. He doesn't have these 3 layers of Ensof. So that's Ron. And he has a lot of these Slytherin lifetimes he pulls from. So like, so this is Alden actually. So like Alden has done a lot of the Voldemort stuff, but not in a bad way. Not in like a sex crimes way so much. So, and Alden runs a lot of the green and brown energy because he's grounded and he's a really old soul. And then he emanates out this like purple, like, oh, I'm like, I am in Kater. So this is Alden. And Alden's a very, very powerful wizard when we get him completely rehabbed. And he hates that word. He's like, alchemist. He hates the idea of Harry Potter. He's a total rebel. And it doesn't matter because we're going to get him cross into the Seraphim and get him A&R marks. And that's our goal in life, is to rehab. This is Seth and then Osiris. And they will get their marks. And they will be purifying the Clippeth because Alden doesn't want me to be getting knife raped. Okay, so then we understand like these are like some of the old Egyptian powerhouses throughout history and through different star systems. So Freeman is really loving, but he is not Alden and he will like Freeman will become an archangel. He'll never have like the god level power Alden does, but he will be a master. Okay, so like this is old stuff. And Freeman's a lot more humble than Alden. Alden's a dick, but Alden will be he'll be a good one. All right, now we're gonna do the tower spread. And Alden's a Mexican. And we have Chris Chavez as the other Latino dude, and that will be awesome. Alden looks white, but he's Hispanic. And his family is much more, just like Chris Chavez's family, much more ethnically Latino. Alden's from Oklahoma and Chris is from Los Angeles. All right. Yeah, so like I'm hearing, our racism stuff on you is perverse. That is correct. That's why people who call me a racist don't pass HODE. They have very little knowledge and they have zero seeking truth about any like actual facts in my life. It's insanity. Okay, so and then we have Josh, and Josh is a Guatemalan, and then Emma Alfaro will be, Emma Alfaro is Mexican Guatemalan. Her mom is Mexican, and she is one of the kids that I'm gridding up for the Ascension. Okay, so like her father is basically one of the most trustworthy people on the planet. He's a Griffin, but he is an unmarked Griffin. He's the Guatemalan dude, and he's funny, and we love him. All right. So he makes fun of my issues all day long. And he makes fun of Brianna, and we have like this old child, like old college, like friendship, camaraderie around everything. He doesn't get the magical world yet because he's just a human. And he will. He's one of the Griffins that have an official Nexa pass that like he has 20 years to do his paperwork where everyone else has 5. That kind of thing. So he has old good karmas that most people don't in life. And Babaji loves Josh. And there are things like that in life that matter. Baba G attaches to Josh's vibrations and like marries it, not in a sexy way. In a like he wants to be like Josh and like make fun of people like Josh and stuff like that. All right. Most people don't understand that Baba G is a human. You learn things like that when you live with a witch or somebody you thought was a master. You begin to understand like they're a baby level wizard instead of a master. Like master is where student begins. So we say the masters are the Hufflepuffers, and that's where student begins. Okay, so let's get to the tower spread. I know, it's so gross that everything is like very little here. So if you want to purify your overly critical brain that just says lies all day long before I confess you, you should throw all that shit into the lava. Like, and go, please don't write a know me book. Like, don't send Kali Ren overly critical rhetoric that is psychic attack all day long. Don't piss her off. Make that a know me where it like decides to say things that are truthful and honest to Kali Ren, that is actually communicating your real need and the real hurt. Stuff like that that's a productive assessment. That's a productive use of energy versus the monkey mind that is all over the place and spewing lies out the wazoo. Okay. So we're gonna do our bigger yolk around our current yolk. So let's start with that. We're gonna go another soul star, the double octahedron, but we're gonna go over like 10 times the level, like the map. I'm gonna take over London. So I'm gonna do it over this city that I'm currently in. And then the rest of the towers are gonna be that part of England, okay? So I'm gonna do the soul star over London. And then I'm gonna dig into the ground and I'm gonna do the soul star into the ground. So it's a double octahedron. And then it starts to wipe away the negativity in life from the bottom of the clippet. And we do the metal braids going clockwise at the seam. And then we do the secondary octahedron. If you do them at the same, that's fine. So now I'm hearing you're just as schizophrenic because you're not doing anything like anything else that we've seen on the planet. So that's where we're at in the higher mental bodies, but now through the bottom of hell. So now your guys' bodies are aligned with that energy, and that's nice. There's a difference between crazy and genius. Genius will always seem crazy because it's new. Now I'm hearing from Saima, she's very impatient because she wants her egg around India. Like she wants this stuff. So Saima should be doing her own egg. Period. And she should have, I don't even know which part of India she is in, or if she's even in India still. Like, I don't know. But I know where Dharmasala is. So we were gonna grid up Dharmasala with the Rosy Cross egg. We got a primary grid going, and then we're gonna now grid it up for the seraphim work. But we're gonna do this first. Now, the thing about doing the world shell when we get this egg is then it will force a Hufflepuff cook on a lot of people. So anyone who goes in their soul, I really want to ascend the tree of life into Hufflepuff, it will force the cook around the planet. And that's why GEBURAH, it rocks. Because we have the power in GEBURAH to ascend an entire new generation of humans. And then when we do the Hashmalim egg is when we start to rescue confessed Muggle children. And that's a different grid. So now we're gonna do the Protego Totalum mesh. I'm doing it all throughout London. And I wrote enough pages where Protego Totalum does not equal knife rape that I feel okay doing that now. And then I do the Protego Totalum at the bottom. The difference between the personal egg and GEBURAH and then this egg is not the same. And then we have the pearl beads at all the intersections of the Protego Totalum spell. So I'm hearing, is Aaron Sorkin now a confessed person? Yeah, he got confessed this morning. He did really well up until today. So now he has a confession payout he must do, and he has land rehab assignment. Whereas Spielberg is in charge of creating Hogwarts for the arts and making sure that he gets that done, and then he can do a few pages for knife rape because he's an old man. and then he needs to deal with Britney Spears and figure out what she is requiring, and then we might be good to unconfess Spielberg and throw him in a fifth house Nexa for reincarnation. But Spielberg being in charge and making sure that the Hogwarts for the arts is built, that's a massive assignment. And then that's his legacy moving forward. And then Aaron Sorkin's is only rehab, land rehab development. Okay. I'm hearing we really want to change your wardrobe and get you in confessor gear and all that kind of stuff. Yes, I will be changing all of that in the future. Right now, we're in hoodies and we're dealing with knife rapers. And I'm in hoodie and yoga gear because like that's my confessor gear right now because I'm in sport warfare mode all day long, every day. Okay. Now we're going to get the giant salviohexia grid, the honeycomb. Oh my God, all over London, the giant sloth of salviohexia. Yeah, we changed the entire energetic structure of London really deep. It's not different physically, but energetically, it is a completely new city. It was filthy and perverse when I got here, and I had to clean up all of Aleister Crowley's stuff and all the bombs left over from World War II. It was insanity what I had to clean up and on the energetic realm. And then everyone was still stuck in like 1950s like mentality, like in a physical capacity, where America has a lot more air and like dreamer and like be like able to do things like London's not. Okay, now we get the salviohexia honeycomb and then we let that fall that to the bottom, and it might be the Patronus blue spots or cyan blue spots, and then also the black tar heroin spots. Like London feels good to me now. When I walk outside, I don't get hit with the head going, now I get hit with the head going, boom, God, as I walk. And then I feel the Moses grid. And that is awesome because that's what's really going to do it in life. It's more than Moses is what I'm hearing. Okay. There is a difference between Mother Andromeda, Rava, and God. And she knows it. Man. And I'm just the little measly Harry Potter wizard being like, yeah. Okay, that's a good salviohexia all over London. It's getting stronger. And this is why I had to rehab Elijah into Hufflepuff, because he was so Natsakian and so strong. He'd have the ability similar to God. I have the higher realms where the mental body processes, and he has the lower physical power. And it's pretty scary to have Kylo Ren on a planet. And now he's locked out of Hufflepuff, so now he has to be Griffin and non-evil. He has to have his A&R marks. And then we make him do a lot of work that is humbling every day. Okay. Now we're gonna get the Phantodurigu on this yolk. And yes, we're gonna put this saffron Phantoduri grape bubbles all the way through the bottom. Okay. We're gonna now we're gonna put a layer of Gryffindor lava honeycomb around that. And then we're gonna spray it with the Griffin blue paint on the outside of that. And I'm hearing, this is schizophrenic because we have no Jesus at all. Good, now we're starting to get somewhere with the lower bodies. So as Griffin a Griffin is not overly critical. A Griffin spends most of their time like sniffing out crime and listening than putting on labels or judgments. Because they did a lot of work getting past Hode and then cooking out their brain, and then they're setting boundaries most of the time. Okay, now we're at the bottom. I'm hearing, what is J.K. Rowling's unconfession ticket? We don't actually know if she has one. It will be to like anti-deforestation and then having like 1 million trees planted. But it will also be making 1,000 wands out of actual wood that was collected. And that's because of her exploitation. She is responsible for every fake plastic wand that was sold on the planet. And that's a good unconfession ticket. So she has to learn from a wand maker that's attuned to the fairy and the fae realm, that knows fae law, that vibes like a Hufflepuff or higher. What a real wand is. Okay. Now, on the outside of this Griffin blue paste, we're gonna do the candy apple. Or somebody's saying we should do the lasagna right now. Let's do the lasagna. So let's do 4 more layers of the Gryffindor lava. You can do them all at once if you're good. the Gryffindor lava honeycomb with the blue paste on the inside. Now, if you need the wires to poke through the lasagna to like create the mesh to contain the lasagna yolk, that's fine, that's good. And then it will braid. And then we put the Fanto Dairy grape jelly on around that. Somebody's saying that they're not done with any of that at all. That's fine. If you take 20 minutes, it's okay. You can go ahead and pause it. All right, next, we're gonna put the candy apple red shell on the outside. And this should start anchoring in your Griffin body. And you're gonna start seeing these grids through the different layers going up and down are the red versus the Yoda Ball's Cobra Acid square. So it looks like a checkerboard of red versus chartreuse, red chartreuse, red chartreuse through the whole yolk. Up and down, different layers. And that starts to help to purify everything. Now on the outside of that candy apple red shell, we're gonna throw a brick. This is a magic brick. You throw the brick onto the candy apple red shell, and then it expands into an entire shell of brick. You'll start to see it spiral and build a brick sphere around you. So this is part of the Griffin body. And we'll go clockwise, up and down. I'm hearing somebody go, race has nothing to do with anything. Oh my God. When you're in the bottom of the clipeth and you understand the demons of people, you see how everything is a drama and everyone kind of looks the same in the bottom of the clipeth. They're like these little brown cat-like demons. And they're like, but then they attach, like they're the lower selves of people. And then they make like agreements to create dramas between like different races or like, so it's all just about the like a demon being a demon instead of an actual issue. And that's why racism will never be part of the A&R marks. Ever. Because it's like, it's a demonic activity That's a drama cycle. The black person calling a white person racist when they're racist against white people, and it's like a rich black man calling a white girl that's homeless like a racist is bizarro. Like, so it's psychosis in the brain, and it's like that it's gone. Okay, so like that's supposed to go away in the Hufflepuff brain cook. It also should be transcendent and Hode, like, where you're honest about yourself and the mirror prism. You know how to calculate facts, and you're like a seeker of truth instead of okay. So now we're gonna do another, we're gonna throw a candy apple red bomb. We're gonna paint 104, the number 144 on it, on the candy apple. And then we're gonna have a brick, and we're gonna paint 144 on the brick. And this is the magic we did with the dragons. An awesome, it's an awesome. Okay. We're gonna throw that bomb on our yolk, and then we're gonna throw the brick, and then it goes 144 layers. And it's gonna start to situate. All right, I'm feeling like the bottom, the lower level is getting the good magic. Okay. Now, what's next is we're gonna dump the maturity charm inside of our yolk. And it will be juiced through each layer of the brick too. Again, it's like McGonagall's cattail. Like the psychic attack goes down 50% in London with that maturity charm. Like that's the goal. Where London becomes the divine anchor point. And then it starts emanating through the planet. So you start to see the light coming. Now this is wherever your main anchor point is. Like you don't have to do London because you're doing the tower, your home, and you can make your egg grid something else. But it's got to be like, it should be at this format. It can be smaller. Like many of you guys, you're like, I need mine to be smaller because maybe from your house, like your tower to your kids' towers like that, or maybe your egg is just at the size of a state, or the yolk, because you'll still do the world egg even if your yolk is like the size of a Florida or something. If your egg is the size of Kuwait, that's fine. You'll still do a world, like a world shell. Okay, so the maturity charm is like coming through London. Now we're gonna do the intelligentsia charm. Now intelligentsia still was gridded with some knife rape. Now, like I'm pretty sure down the road, like I'm doing Protego Totalum doesn't equal knife rape. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have Kelly, and I'm doing 3 books. Pretty sure Kelly is gonna end up doing intelligentsia does not equal knife rape. Even just doing 1 page of that matters. So some of these spells are like not clean. If you are definitely a Hashmalim, you need the Protego Totalum for the Seraphim, or just to get the A&R marks. But if you're a Hashmalim, you should probably make a pact with yourself that the spell Intelligentsia, you'll do a book, the spell Intelligentsia does not equal knife rape. That should be on the Hashmalim side. Now, if you're an Or, you need to do a number of pages at least. We do it together, like we read the planet together. Kelly has to grid 300 dragons and a bunch of star systems. It's like 3 books. So we don't complain, we just do the work. So to a seraphim, intelligentsia is like A&R protocols. like, like, what more is there in life than getting getting rid of knife rape and sexual assault on the planet? And that's intelligent. Okay. Okay. Now we go back and we're gonna do the salviohexia. We're gonna do a cyan. We're gonna do a blue opal with cyan and cobra acid green. We're doing the Veratasurum charm inside this honeycomb. And that will maybe purify some of the knife rape left over with the intelligentsia charm. Now these opals will be on Elaine's archangel necklace. There are 3 of them we picked out. That's like Elaine. Yeah. So she's like the queen of Veratasurum. It's the dark blue with the cyan blue specks with the cobra acid green specks. That's the Veratasurum charm. Now we're producing cleaner magic. Okay, the last thing we're gonna do on this big yolk, we're gonna name this video the bigger yolk. We're gonna put the honeycomb, the yellow one, on the outside of this yolk with the honey goo. Yes, I'm filtering some of the stuff that you guys are sending me. So somebody's like, you're just a bigot because I don't like my life. So thank you for wasting my time and raping my body. Okay, so we got that. Now we're gonna have the dragons be puking up the dragon yolk into the honeycomb. And they may focus, they're gonna focus on the whole, filling up the whole yolk. And Funny Wilson's being funny right now because her eyes are lighting up like, yeah, this is the good stuff. Now Funny Wilson looks happy. So we're getting like real positivity at the bottom of the clip it. And this is why we're not afraid of negativity in life. Yes. Okay. Where are we at time? Stop share. I don't even know where we're at time. Okay. We are going to do 2 more things today, or we're going to do 2 more things in this video. So what we're going to do is we're going to create another yoke here. But we need to create these towers. All right. But we're also going to create this tower set, like what we did outside. All right. Then we have this next setup. I'm being asked, can we make sure that all of these are gridded the same? Yes. And that's probably the more appropriate soul star. But it's really psycho how advanced it is. So you can do it that way if you want to. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna do it this way because this is the yoke. It's the egg, but it's the yolk. What I will do is make sure that these towers are set. And then we have the little dots here. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay. To the north, south, east, and west, we're going to take our tower, our master central tower, and we're going to emanate 1 to the north, 1 to the south, 1 to the east, and 1 to the west. That one's west, that one would be east. And then they each have 4 towers around. So like one of these towers still has this. Remember that. So they have 1. So like, remember that our tower looks like this. Double terminated crystal. And then it each has 4 of these on each side. 1 in the front and 1 in the back. And then it has another one there. There you go. You draw it in, pretend that it goes back there. Okay. Now I'm starting to feel real anti-night grids on the planet because like Gryffindor is coming to town. So you have 16 of those little ones. And then you have 4 of the bigger ones. And we're gonna do the same thing we did with the house. We're gonna have 5 collie lily or collie pink lilies. So we're gonna do 4 of them are the same side and they go on the top of each tower point. Now, if you need to look at a map and have this drawn out on your map, that's a good idea. It's kind of hard psychically with the land spread, unless you're only doing it psychically, and then it's fine. So they each have the collie pink lily on them. And then the collie pink lily folds over in each petal, or a petal touches each little tower point. And then we have the moss roots and the collie lilies with their rooting down to the bottom of the towers so that the bottom of the towers all connect. Okay, now we're gonna have the big collie lily at the top of the middle one. And then the big, so the 5th one goes here. I'm gonna draw this in really quickly. So we have a collie pink lily here. Oh, that's too magenta-y. Where is our, it's this color, but it's not. Cancel. Be like this, but like purple. There we go. And then like lighter. Like that. That color. That. And that. And then we have another one here. And they're just, yeah, it's almost like the color of the saffron. And then we have the big one that connects to every single tower. And there's more. You're right, it just folds over and it kind of creates a giant like eggshelly top. I'm hearing this cleans up all narcissism. That's the goal. That's definitely the goal. And then we have the roots growing down from each of the towers and everything connects. And then it has the moss at the bottom. Now we got this. Now we're gonna create it in like that weird ectoplasmic clear cellular membrane. So now I'm gonna draw it in. It's gonna be like grayish, cleary, pearly. We have a cellular membrane here, and it's like opaque but translucent because it's a cellular membrane. And you're gonna start feeling the need to put the Protego totalum mesh in it. what you're gonna find is what we're gonna end up doing for the yolk is actually gonna be that. But we gotta start here. And then what the yolk will end up actually being is this. So what we're doing is like a giant like dragon fractal that unfolds and repeats the pattern over and over and over again. Okay, so then we make sure that we have the pearl beads on all the Protego Totalum mesh. And then see if you can tighten up the resolution on the Protego Totalum mesh and get it smaller. So if it was like a foot a square, now make it like 5 inches a square. And yeah, we can do the candy apple with the brick. Not right now, but we will do it. And now I can hear Isla calling me from Southern California. She can hear me, she's reaching out, and I can see her lighting up now in the bottom of the clip it. She looks like a white dot. And her sister's not as bright yet. So that's why I call Isla the star. Okay. Little Archangel Haniel gets her little grid here in Southern California. All right. And then Gracie lives over here somewhere. I don't know. She's in yeah, they moved up there somewhere. So Gracie and Noelle, and then Maddie and Penny and them are like over here somewhere. And Brian and McCormick. So those little kids, we all went to Zion together, and they all vibe very similarly because they're all like getting ascended. And then we have Elena up here, and then she's gonna be on the higher wavelengths. We got Kelly, and you guys are like sloth. Okay. Kelly, where's Mississippi? I can't even see it. All right. So we got our Protego Totalum on the big one. Now let's get the Salvio Hexia honeycomb. Salvio Hexia. I like the pearlescent one. That's the cyan and the black tar heroin. So I'm starting to feel, okay, so I don't even know where Dr. Ingrid Visser's worker. I thought she was in Australia-ish, but I can start to feel her spiritual glow, and it's emanating gold, like golden yellow light in Hufflepuff throughout the planet. And I can see it. So she's doing good. Okay. That's feeling nice. I hear her say, "No way am I not gonna ascend." Yes, and she's on the Pearl queue, so she cannot be confessed. So what we're doing now, we got the salviohexia. Make sure it's on the bottom part. And then let's get the Fianto grape jelly. Yay. And then it's the jelly, so we have a few layers of gel. Lighter, some of it's lighter, and some of it's darker. It's jelly. And it has the pearly lily, or the saffron. Saffron. So we don't do a giant saffron, we do like these little saffron bubbles. Okay. What do I want to add? So then we're gonna do the Gryffindor lava honeycomb on the outside of that. We're gonna do the lasagna. I like quickly. This is the Gryffindor lava honeycomb. Boom, boom, boom. All right. It's much smaller than what I'm drawing. I'm just trying to prove a point. So it looks kind of like this, a little bit like this color, but like a little oranger. Because it has more like lava. There we go. Like, yeah. Okay. So then we have the Griffin blue paste. This is a pretty decent color. On top of that. And then you can start to see how the Griffin blue paste starts to really seal up everything. And then we do the Gryffindor lava honeycomb again. We're going to do the lasagna. We're going to do 4 more layers up with the Gryffindor blue paste. That really starts to clean stuff up. And then we might put the metal spikes or the metal mesh through all the different layers of the lasagna. Help it anchor in, it porcupines out and through. To help it situate. And then it creates the metal mesh on the outside. And then you might want to paint that metal mesh with like a nice pearlescent blue. Right now we're going to paint it with a high-oat white cream. It's like the consistency of Elmer's glue out of the bottle. And then we're going to paint on the candy apple red. And you should start feeling very clean and clear, even from the bottom of hell. The levels of thought get much better. And then we're going to throw our brick onto the candy apple. That brick goes around the candy apple and creates a brick wall. It's not really the right color, but it suffices. I don't like that I drew it at angles like that. I feel like I need to do it like an actual like higher form. Horizontally. And then we coat it with the Griffin blue paste again. Clean up any of the ick. Then you might be able to breathe. Okay, next. We're gonna do the 144 candy apple. And the 144 brick. Now I'm feeling like I'm getting in my yoga body. I feel Misty coming through, and she goes, I am ready to learn, I know nothing. And that is where we need to be in life. And I still have to purify knife rape stuff from the lower worlds, and that's gross. Like, okay. Let's see if we can get the chartreuse grids through all the different layers. So it's like that, going up and down through the different worlds, but this is the pattern of it. Chartreuse and red checkers. And it's lasagna in a, not in a spherical way, but in a actual lasagna. Now I can feel Kelly coming through nice and strong. Now her body is starting to get stronger over here. And I can start to feel her emanating her grid. So when you get your temple up, your friends start getting stronger. And Kelly's grid is different than Isla's. Isla shines like a bright and shining star, and Kelly emanates like a deep archangel. Okay, because they have different vibrations. She is also masked in a lot of aura magic, where Isla is not running the aura so much. She is running the baby confessor energy. Okay. Kelly. So it's like, you can start to feel it. Okay. We're gonna do 5 more layers of the Gryffindor lasagna spherically with the Griffin paste. Just for a little bit more purification. The paste is in between everything. And now we're gonna add some we're gonna add some spells. But first we're gonna do just a regular Tea Ferretti honeycomb on the outside of that. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna put little onks in the middle of every cell in the honeycomb. Now it's for anti-knife raper magic. Deep sacred divinity. Now we're gonna have the dragons pouring their yolk all through this yolk. They're gonna be vomiting up all the dragon yolk into the section. And then I hear Kelly saying, yeah, I got my power back. I can see her spine lighting up with the blue energy right now. And we're only on mental body 13 for her right now at the moment. So Elaine is over here too. Okay, so Kelly's over here, Mississippi. I'm dumb. Forgive me. Kelly's over here, and then Elaine's in Arkansas. Natara's over here in Escondido. And Stacy's over here, I believe, somewhere in Arkansas. Or I don't remember where Stacy is exactly. So, like, the part about this yoke was the reason why we also kept this as the anchor point was to make sure that these women got gridded. And then Gracie gets gridded. We're good. But that's how strong Isla is. Okay. Boom, boom. I'm just gonna, I didn't really draw it clockwise. That wasn't great, but there it is. All right. And I start to see Kelly's third eye start glowing really bright blue. And she's getting strong. And you just So she starts getting all the Ravenclaw downloads really fast. Okay. Why did you do that? You just messed it up. I'm just trying to make something cleaner. There we go. Nice onk. All right. I know what I do is annoying. Okay. So now that's the dragons are still filling in the yolk here. Here's where I really mess it up. More dragon yolk. More dragon yolk. We just vomit it. Then you start ask God for God dragon yolk. And see if God brings in a deeper level. And then I see Kelly's wings begin to glow, and I'm like, yeah. She starts getting big. And we're gonna do the big Protego Total and mesh. One more time. And then we put the pearlescent beads at all the intersections. This is the, oh, that's not a great gray. That one will be better. Here's our Protego Total and mesh. All over again. We have the pearl beads at every intersect. Boom, boom, boom. You wave the wand and they all begin to manifest. Remember, there's cobra acid charm inside the pearlescent beads, but not a lot. We're gonna do one more layer of salviohexia. We're gonna put a few spells in here, this yolk. I'm gonna do the salviohexia. I'm gonna do the honeycomb color, the golden salviohexia. here. Boom, 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 boom. This is the really quick way of creating a honeycomb. It's really sloppy though, the way I'm drawing it. More. Okay, so there's our salviohexia. And we do the Fiantoduri grape jelly. We don't need to keep drawing, I'm hearing. Oh, but we do, I'm hearing from another angle. So it annoys some people, and some people need it for the grid. There's the Fiantoduri grape jelly. This one's not as sophisticated because this one is dark. And put the darker edge into it. Yeah. Our Fianto grape jelly. And we have the saffron bubbles. Okay. We're gonna put a cream of ether. We're gonna call it the ether cream in the middle. So this is like our cleansing agent. And then we're going to put another layer of cleansing agent, more ether. Through, and then more ether. And then we're gonna put peach peony all throughout the yolk. That's Isla's grid. That's why her archangel necklace is pink peach moonstone and chiastolite. So peach is for best light in light language, but in a other ballgame, it is Hode plus Kater. So it's higher levels of Hode, so healthy mental body. And then it has a hint of yellow, so it's Tiferet-y. It's delicate. So it starts to clear up our mental bodies in a very gentle way, but also anything stuck in our sacral chakras that may not be completely cleaned out yet. And it's just a gentle, gentle color. And then we might be pouring on more dragon yolk. to coat that. The thing about getting into GEBURAH is you start to learn there are 500 million layers to something instead of like a few. That's part of the teaching of the peony. And when you start to get to that higher divine sensitivity, you become patient and loving those layers because you feel the levels of health and vitality that they provide. Okay. There was one more spell I was wanting to add in for activation. Somebody's asking, can we do the mermaid tail again? Yes, we can. So we can put the mermaid. This is not the better green. That would be a better mermaid green. So we can put the mermaid green scales around our yoke. Sexual healing intentions. I know this is not the better or the best way to color it in, but it's what I have right now. We all know what Ariel's tail color looks like. It's very odd that I cannot find it. And we have the shimmers, and then we can put the myrrh oil on each scale. Now we've made a blessed temple. And I see Kelly's mermaid tail begin to develop. And then Isla's and the kids. So I start to see other myrrh begin to develop on the planet. As we created a master access point that begins to emanate for others. Has that nice shimmer to it. We're gonna do one more layer of candy apple red. It's for our GEBURAH yolk. And then you think of Ariel's hair. Got Ariel's hair flowing in the water. No, we wanted to keep that. Got Kelly's with her archangel wings starting to get big. Like mommy Ravenclaw right there. I can feel her grid and her DNA chain start to anchor into this. It starts to wrap into all her neural wiring. Okay. And then we have the dragon yolk. One more time. Should be a little bit more yellow. There we go. Oh, wait. I want to paint the anti-knife rape white dots. And then we start to feel like Funny Wilson. Now it begins to attune to the Gryffindor High Priestess grid. Okay. Now we're going to do, very quickly, the anti-knife rape Rose Lotus activation in our central yoke. And see if we can get it through the spine. What you should start to see is the emanation of the different red. That's not the best red. And the different white splatters coming through the yolk. And it will begin to create kind of like a dragon egg form around the yolk. Make sure it gets in the underworld, or that lower part. Make sure all that magic was going beneath your feet in the lower. It might be slower, but we got to push it through our root chakra and push it through our feet. And it might be kind of stuck where our knees are. You can push it through. Do we have a good magic for that yet? Just dumping more salviohexia sludge on top of something and push it down. That's more, that's mostly my magic. All right. This is this. The next video, we're gonna go the A&R yolk. So we're gonna do a I'm going to teach you guys a galactic activation on the yolk for the ANR quickly. All right. Pause.